the nasty part of the business that kind of gets swept under the rug. You deal with these type of things, and when guys are in positions of being, franchise players or whatever the case may be, it's usually sometimes a nasty, breakup.
To me, it's not only nasty, it's shameful. It's shameful for somebody who is being paid $40 million a year of guaranteed money to quit on a team, a fan base, a city. And again, I get when NFL players hold out for more money. Yeah, I get when Le'Veon Bell, who was very valuable to the Pittsburgh Steelers, he holds out because he doesn't think he's getting paid enough. NFL players don't get guaranteed contracts. NFL players literally put their necks on the line every week, not to mention their knees and their shoulders and their brains and their skulls. I have no tolerance for NBA players who quit on their teams. Harden he held out at the beginning of training camp. He leaves the Rockets in limbo while he partied without a mask, by the way, in Atlanta and with Vegas. Who was the rapper he was partying with? Lil Baby, all right? Then he shows up several days late. Then he's required to go through all the COVID testing for 6 consecutive days before he's even cleared to join team activities. All the missed practice time and preseason games wrecked the chemistry of the team under the new coach, Steven Silas. Then he's sidelined again for 4 days, fined $50,000 for violating the league's health and safety protocols after that video surfaced of him attending a private indoor party days before the Rockets were scheduled to have their season opener, which, by the way, was postponed due to not having enough players available. And then, what's happened in the last few days, I mean, the Rockets have been terrible. They're 3-6. Harden he's fat. He's averaged only 17.4 points over the last, 5 games. That's the lowest scoring 5-game span of his career. He's failed to run back and transition defense numerous times. Everybody sees he's out there just malingering and quitting on his team. No tolerance for this. Anyone?
Well, my feeling is that, yes, it stinks that they're in the situation that they're in, but at the very least, at least the Rockets got something out of him. They're getting 4 first-round draft picks.
They got a mother load of draft picks, but we all know you don't know how those are going to turn out, and they're probably not going to be very high draft picks either.
Well, let me tell you how the relationship with James Harden would have continued on over the next couple of years had he had stuck around in a job that and for an employer and for an organization that he no longer wanted to be in. I get it that he signed the contract, but in real life this happens all the time. People work for companies and then decide it's no longer the same company or no longer has the same direction that I felt like it had when I got here. I'd like to go somewhere else that maybe had a better vision. And he ended up on a better team, in a better situation to win. And it's not like the Houston Rockets are left holding a bag here and have gotten nothing in return. This is professional sports. Look, you tried, it didn't work. You moved on, and now they've got 4 first-round draft picks. At least they've got something that they can try to replenish.
4 first-round draft picks for one of the greatest players of the modern era, one of the greatest scorers of the modern era. You know what you can do with those 4 first-round draft picks? Shove them up your bootay, okay? Because they got nothing. They got nothing for him. They got Victor Oladipo, who's
they had nothing with him, to be fair.
Well, because he quit on the team. If they had something with him, if he'd have played hard and showed up in shape and showed up ready to play. We will continue this conversation when we come back on Open Mic.
Whether you're drinking your morning coffee or sipping on a seltzer.
There are three things that I believe is going to lead to the downfall of the NBA. And again, I'm not saying the NBA is going to go belly up, but I think the NBA is in a predicament right now, all right? Obviously, I would say the NBA right now, after the NFL is the king of all sports. We know that, in this country at least. But after the NFL and probably college football, I think college football gets better ratings than the NBA, always judging on ratings. So I would go just football in general, then NBA, Major League Baseball, and then, whatever you want to pick. Hockey, golf, NASCAR, whatever. All right. So, but I think the NBA is going to continue to lose popularity for three reasons, and three reasons that I think really turn fans off, all right? And we all know the vast majority of NBA teams have absolutely no hope of winning a championship when the season begins. Will we all agree on that? The vast majority have no hope of winning a championship when the season begins. Like you could go down the list and pick like 3/4 or even more of the league that has no chance of winning a championship. I think long-term guaranteed contracts that cripple a franchise for years. If a player gets injured, we've certainly seen that in Orlando and are seeing it right now with Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac, who just signed lucrative long-term deals, and now they have torn ACLs, and who knows if and when they'll ever be back to what they once were. And finally, what we're seeing right now, superstars like James Harden, who quit on their teams to force their way out of town. Now, James Harden had the option of not signing a long-term deal in Houston, but he wanted the money, he wanted the security, and he did. And then when he gets tired of it, boom, he's gone. So again, I think fans are really, really turned off by this. Austin, we have a couple of polls about this topic. Can you read those? Do you have those up?
I've got them right here. Remember, you can vote on these topics on Twitter at 969thegame or at thegamejack. So we have the thought-provoking daily poll, which is how much does the way James Harden quit on the Houston Rockets and forced a trade to the Brooklyn Nets hurt the NBA in the eyes of fans? Your options are hurt so much! All caps, exclamation points. Hurt some or doesn't hurt at all. Then we do have supplemental poll number 1. Have the Brooklyn Nets now supplanted the Lakers as the most hated team in the NBA? Yes or no?
I would say yes on the second one. All right, the second one, I think because of Kyrie Irving, he's not exactly beloved. Because of Kevin Durant, he's not exactly beloved. And now you add James Harden into the mix after what he did to the Houston Rockets. I'm going to go yes on the second one. And as much as I would like to say so much on the first one, by the time we get to the end of the season and it's the Nets and the Lakers in the finals, everybody will be all excited. So I'm going to go. What's the second option on the first poll?
It hurts some.
It hurts some. Adam?
Yeah, no, I would say that it probably doesn't hurt at all. The league, because at the end of the day, you're right. If you get LeBron, who's orchestrated his way out of a couple of different towns and orchestrated a roster around him,
never quit.
Yeah, I guess never quit.
Well,
but
that's kind of weak sauce.
Define
quit.
I'm just saying
never
that
showed up overweight.
No. LeBron's not built like that. LeBron's special.
Exactly.
But I mean, there are people that sort of don't like the way he's able to orchestrate teams around himself. There's people that point to different things when it comes to LeBron. Kevin Durant, I mean, I guess you could say he quit on Oklahoma City and found his way to an already made winner in Golden State. People hated that for a moment.
But again, he was a free agent and left. I don't have an issue with that. He was a free agent and left. That's well within the rules and within.
Let me ask you this real fast, because I think guys like James Harden, it's kind of easy to pick on him. Was there a time, like in the early 80s, that you felt like the NFL was going to suffer because John Elway didn't want to play for the Colts, and he orchestrated his way? He basically not only did he not quit on the Colts, he wouldn't even start for the Colts. Wouldn't even get started. Eli Manning. Did Eli Manning ruin the league because he decided he wasn't going to play in San Diego and didn't even try?
But one player in the NFL, even a quarterback,
The number one pick in the draft?
Yeah, but
a generational talent like John Elway?
John Elway was such a generational talent it took him like 15 years to win a Super Bowl. But no, I don't think one player, even a great quarterback, can cripple a franchise. Like, again, James Harden, like Dwight Howard leaving Orlando or Shaq leaving Orlando, that cripples the franchise for years and years to come. And you're talking about these draft picks that are going to take years to develop, even if they even do develop. No. The NFL is unruinable with the way that league is set up, with the hard salary cap and, no guaranteed contracts and all of that. So
if it's the Nets and the Lakers like you just predicted, then let me tell you what the NBA is saying. This is great. This is great. Yeah, maybe you've got the biggest superstar in the league in LeBron James, and then you'll go against arguably the best player in the league, along now with arguably the greatest scorer in the league. If that's your finals matchup, then you've got LA, you've got New York, sorta, and you've got three of the top 5 players in the league. Let me tell you, the NBA would salivate at the idea that that's going to be what they can roll out in an NBA Finals for sports fans.
All right, go vote at 96.9 The Game or at The Game Jack. Straight ahead, what makes Nick Saban the greatest college coach of all time? We'll ask another great college coach that question when Steve Spurrier joins Open Mic.
Open Mic. We'll be back in a couple.
Our next guest is synonymous with this song. He's won SEC championships. He's won ACC championships. He's won national championships. And I'm sure he has the Alliance of American Football Championship trophy we awarded him a couple years ago. I'm sure he has that displayed somewhere prominently. Let's welcome in the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Give him a standing ovation.
Well, thank you, Mike. I'll tell you what, I've never had that introduction before, and I like it. I like that Alliance. It's the last team I coached, and in life, we all want to go out a winner, so maybe I was able to do that because the Alliance of American Football, Orlando Apollos, right there in Orlando.
That's right, and I'm sure you have that trophy stuffed in your closet somewhere, probably collecting dust, but that's okay, Coach.
It is, and it's going to be in the restaurant. We're opening a restaurant up here. I think it's probably going to be April of this year, and it's called Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and I guarantee that trophy's going to be right there with some of the other ones.
Nice. Coach, how's your golf game before we get started talking about football?
Mike, you know, when I was about 30 and 40 and 50, I said when I get in my 70s, I'll have time to really work on my golf game and really get good at it. Guess what? It didn't work out that way. I can't hit it the way I used to. It doesn't go quite as far and just have too many ugly swings. So, but I still play a bit here and there, but not as well as I used to.
Hey, have you talked to Danny Werfel lately? How's he doing?
I played golf with him. He was in Gainesville for the Heisman festivities, a week ago, Monday night or so. And we played golf the next day. So he's doing fine. The Kyle Trask, they had the virtual Heisman show. So Danny was in town, and then we played golf the next day. Oh, he's doing wonderfully well. He's what a wonderful guy he is. They don't come any better than Danny Werfel.
All right, Coach, the national championship game. Obviously, Alabama wins their 6th national title in 12 years under Nick Saban. Nick Saban's now won 7 national titles. He's obviously found the formula for winning national championships. You've competed against him. You're a great coach in your own right. What makes Nick Saban so great?
Well, first of all, he is. He is one of the best coaches in the nation. Well, to me, it's 3 factors. Number one, they got the best players. We all know that. They're number one in recruiting every year. They're number one again this year. So he's got the best players. But you can have the best players and still not win. So the other 2 things he's got that team spirit, camaraderie, attitude, all those things within their players. Let me ask you this, Mike. You ever heard of an Alabama football player opting out and not playing? 2 years ago, I think they played the Outback Bowl, or was it in Orlando, when LSU won. And so they had to go to sort of a minor bowl or whatever for them. And nobody opted out. All their guys played. And then they go to the NFL after that. And so the team attitude, the players all love each other. You saw how they hug each other and they smile. Mm-hmm. They're always praising teammates. There's no selfishness. And the way that they play, I love the way they play. They don't jaw at each other. They don't mouth off. They don't hit guys on the sideline out of bounds. They don't hit late. They play the game the way it's supposed to be played. So he's got the team morale, I guess, is better than anybody. And then his plan, he calls it his process. They have a plan for the entire year. And when the players, like he had this year, they all say, hey, let's do this, and let's go win a national championship, then you have just a really excellent chance of achieving that. And that's what they did this year, and they may do it again next year. I hear they've got a bunch of guys coming back, although they lose those 3 super All-Americans at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. I don't think Ohio State knew that Devontae Smith won the Heisman. Do you? In the game the other night, I thought, boy, they just let him run free all over the place. But those 3 things make him the best in college football, certainly.
Well, what was that, Coach? I mean, the obviously the commentators were pointing out that they weren't doubling Devontae Smith maybe like they should. Was that just Ohio State thinking they could cover Alabama with their base defense?
It looked that way. It looked like, hey, this is a defense we played all year. We sort of know this guy's a great player, but they move him all over the place. So let's just play fundamentally sound, try to rush the passer or something like that. I guess that was their plan. Obviously, it didn't work very well. But, again, he had Devontae, and, you know, what a wonderful young man he is, humble and just thankful and appreciative. I tell you what, I think back to 4 years ago. You remember it was Devontae Smith that caught the pass against Georgia on,
Absolutely.
second and 27 or
Yeah.
whatever it was for the national championship. That was him 4 years ago, and he could have gone pro last year. And those Alabama players, they like to stay and play all 4 years and see how many championships they can win and maybe improve their stock to go into the NFL, which all three of those guys did this year. He and Najee and Mac Jones also could have left early, I guess. But they stay and play, and, yeah, Georgia had a chance to knock them off that game, but since then, I don't think well, they've lost very few. I think LSU beat them last year, but they lose very few in the SEC.
Coach, you talk about the opt-outs. A lot of people are talking about bowl games just don't matter like they used to. You were a playoff advocate before it was cool. What's your thoughts? Do we need to expand the playoffs and just admit the bowl games don't matter anymore?
Yeah, it has sort of come to that. Times change, I guess. Back when I was coaching, obviously in the 90s and 2000 there, one of our goals, Mike, every year was try to finish in the top 10. It's pretty neat, finishing in the top 10 in the country. So if we lost one or two along the way, which we did, we didn't win them all. Then if you win the bowl game, you're going to finish in the top 10, maybe 4 or 5 or whatever. So that was always a big game for our team. In fact, Capital One Bowl in Orlando, I still remember 1997, Fred Taylor's senior year, he carried the ball, I think, 41 times against Penn State that afternoon, one of Joe Paterno's last games. So he was ready to play, and it improved his stock. I think he was the number 9 pick in the first round to Jacksonville after that. But that was our team goal. And by winning that game and beating FSU that year also, that was the one we rotated the quarterbacks, Doug Johnson and Noah. We finished number 4 in the nation. And we lost to Georgia and LSU that year, which was the only times we lost to those two teams. But anyway, it was a big game, the bowl game. And in South Carolina, when I coached there, people asked me what was the big games. And I said, it's the bowl games. 2 of them were right there at the Capital One. We beat Nebraska and Wisconsin, and another one was the Outback Bowl. And by doing that, we won 11 games and finished in the top 10. We lose those, we're 14, 15 or something like that. So anyway, I guess times have changed. Players, it's, it's all the NFL. I got to be ready for the NFL, blah, blah, blah. And that's just the way it is. I don't knock the guys that opt out. That's just the way life is. I think we all just appreciate the guys that stay and play for their team all the way through.
Do you think the playoffs are going to be expanded soon?
I hope so. I think everybody in America wants to see at least 8 teams. And, the expert people, the college football playoffs said, well, the top 4 are just going to clobber the other guys. Well, so what? At least they made the playoffs. At least it's a game that counts. I think we all loved watching all those NFL games last weekend and so forth. And playoff games, there's just a little bit more urgency, more effort, more want to, seems like, on all the teams. And if you win, you advance, and you got a chance to win the big crown. So I can't wait to watch Tampa Bay and New Orleans this weekend. That should be a heck of a game.
Coach Steve Spurrier, the head ball coach, he's right here on Open Mic. Coach, last couple of questions. Urban Meyer, it appears, is the leading candidate for the Jaguars job. As somebody who was a great college coach who made the leap to the NFL, what's the allure, do you think, for Urban?
Yeah, I think he's, a little bit bored. He loves coaching. He's been out 2 years now, so he's getting the itch to come back and coach. So, yeah, I think they will name him their coach. And they've got a chance. I think they got a chance to do some good stuff there. Got a lot of draft picks and all that kind of stuff. And he's obviously an excellent coach, and he'll have a good staff there. And it'll be interesting. I think he will take it here within the next few days from just what we all hear. But I think he's got a chance to do very well. I don't know if he'll be there 10 years. I give him 5, but maybe he can win a Super Bowl within 5 years. Who knows?
He usually wins something in that time wherever he's been, at least in college. You ever think back on your 2 years in the NFL?
Place. Yeah, Mike, I went to the wrong place, and obviously I wish I'd stayed in Florida a few more years. We had a heck of a team in 01, one of the best teams of the 12 years I was there. But we lost to Tennessee at home in a game that just, stuff happened. And we lost 34-32. But we came back and won the bowl game that year and finished, I think, 5th in the country. Third in the country. 2001 team was 3rd in the nation when it was all said and done. But, yeah, I picked the wrong team. I picked the team that paid me the most money. But the owner wanted to be the general manager and the personnel director and all that. So I guess I got what I deserved by picking the team that offered the most money.
So you gotta pick the right team if you're going to make the leap, right?
Yeah, you got to have the right situation, but that's okay. Give me a chance to, I always say, get back at South Carolina and achieve some things that have never happened there. And if they win 11 again in South Carolina, I want you to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, anybody can do that in South Carolina. So we got some records there that may be hard to break anytime soon.
All right, Coach, last one. Gators lose their last 3 games. They get clobbered in the bowl game with all the opt-outs. How would you describe this season for the Gators?
I describe it as a good year. Good year. We beat Georgia. We won the Eastern Division. Coach Mullen and his staff, that's the first time we've done that in his 3 years. So we got to the big game. The LSU game was a setback. But we came within 6 of Alabama, so I guess we played them closer than anybody else. So I call it a good year. I think that's the way Dan Mullen and AD say, hey, it was a really good year. It wasn't a great year. Great years are when we carried the championship trophy off the field up there in Atlanta. But, gosh, we haven't had a whole bunch of those. I guess Urban's got a couple, and we got a whole bunch, and that's been about it. So hopefully we can get that back there soon. But I'm going to tell you what, Alabama's going to be tough to beat. Georgia, they're always 2nd or 3rd in the nation, it seems like, in recruiting. So it's tough to get to the top right now.
Hey, Coach, what kind of chance do you give Kyle Trask in the NFL?
I give him a good chance. I talked to him just briefly at that Heisman event, and I said, Kyle, if you could go get drafted by someone that's already got an established quarterback and be a backup, sort of like I did a whole bunch. Not only that, but you can last a long time. He's such a wonderful young man, and he would be an excellent backup to start out. And then when he gets a chance maybe to go play, do it then. There's something to not having to play your first or second year that can create longevity, I think, for quarterbacks in the NFL. So, but I think he's ready. I mean, he's a beautiful passer. He throws a accurate pass, and the guys usually don't drop many until that bowl game. We had some young receivers that hadn't caught many all year that dropped a few, but he's a really good player, and like Dan Mullen said, he played in the NFL 15 years. But try to get about half of it as backups. That's how I lasted 10 years, Mike. I got 8 years as a backup. So now I'm thankful I'm not all beat up, and I'm in pretty decent health, I guess. And being the backup quarterback, I've always said, is the best job in pro football.
It's always great catching up with the head ball coach. Steve, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, my friend. Thanks.
Okay, Bianchi. See you, buddy. Bye-bye.
Watching at Orlando, WJRR HD2 Curtin Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of the Orlando City Soccer Club.
We appreciate Steve Spurrier joining us. He loves him some Nick Saban, by the way. Adam Reardon, trivia question for you.
Go.
Steve Spurrier's record against Nick Saban.
Oh, man. His record against Nick Saban is probably, well, they lost to him the one time. 4-1.
3-1. Very good.
Okay.
Hey, well done.
Very close. Yeah, one of the few coaches who actually has a winning record against the Sabanators. So Anyway, we appreciate the head ball coach joining us. Let's do a little front page of the internet, shall we?
What you reading there, honey?
It's very exciting stuff, you see. It's the front page of the internet.
Oh, yeah, it's the front page of the internet today. We start off on YouTube's trending page where a very funny video from Gus Johnson, who is a YouTuber, comedian extraordinaire, he made a short video on if God talked how people on Facebook said he did. He dresses up like a Walmart version of God and just reads off Facebook posts, and it is hysterical. 10 out of 10. It's got 1 million views in one day. Definitely go check that out. Happy birthday today to the man who has two platinum albums, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick and The Art of Storytelling. It's Slick Rick. How old is Slick Rick today?
Slick Rick is 43.
Yeah, I didn't think you would know this
Slick
one.
Rick's got to be, Cotty's got to be 54.
Ooh, you're close. 56 years old today. Trending over on 96.9 The
Does he still wear the eye
Game.com.
patch?
Yeah. Actually, a little trivia for you about the eye patch. He was blinded in his right eye as a child,
Okay.
which led to the signature eye patch.
I'm
How was he
feeling
blinded?
something.
That I don't know. I only have the fact that he was blinded as a child.
Running with scissors. So kids that are being dropped off at school right now, this is why your parents tell you, don't run with scissors.
Absolutely.
Where are my good scissors? That's what my mom used to always say. Where's the good scissors? Like there were any bad scissors?
Oh, everyone's got a pair of bad scissors. You're like, oh, man, I can't find anything else, and they don't cut right. It's garbage. Trending over on 96.9thegame.com, the open mic section, a former Olympian has been arrested. Yeah, has been arrested.
The swimmer, right?
Yes, Cleat Custer. He is a former gold medalist. He apparently stormed the Capitol while wearing his Team USA jacket.
Oh, God.
He has been charged with 3 felonies. Go check out that story and the video, which shows him there inside the Capitol. That's over on 96.
Do you guys think you may know anybody who might have gone there to do that?
I know people who, if it wasn't such a far drive, would have gone. Yes.
I'm pretty sure that I know somebody who went.
I think you and I know the same people that went.
In fact, one of my best friends is a big Trump guy, and me and my other buddy, when the Capitol storming was happening, I texted my buddy and I go, Robin, just making sure you're not up at the Capitol. And my other buddy goes, it was too far for him to drive.
Probably lucked out. Didn't end up going to jail because of it. How about that?
Keep his job.
Absolutely. Trending over on Reddit, of course, more conversation about what happened on January 6th and the fallout from that. But I find this headline absolutely hysterical. Mike, do you know what Pirate Bay is? What that website is?
I did not know.
So Pirate Bay is a website that is dedicated to getting illegal downloads of things, whether it be movies or Adobe Premiere, all that sort of stuff, right?
It's like the Napster.
There you go.
Yes, very similar. And it's been up for years, okay? Here's the headline. Pirate Bay founder thinks Parler's inability to stay online is, quote, embarrassing.
Because he's been online for so long?
Absolutely. He's been online for years, literally stealing from people, but he's still up, brother.
Hey, who needs social media anyway when you got CB radios? That's how we used to communicate back in Interlochen when I was growing up. We used to have us some CB radios.
Little ham radio to go with a ham sandwich on National Sandwich Day.
Breaker 19.
Breaker 19.
We got a couple of flies on the screen door up there at the Big Bend.
All
we
right.
got a smoky and a plain white wrapper up there.
There we go.
Yeah. Last but certainly not least, from the Life Pro Tip subreddit, don't take legal advice from Reddit. A lot of people would think that this would go without saying. but the legal advice subreddit is alive and well, and this lawyer says, don't take the advice. Go to an actual lawyer. And that's the front page of the internet.
Isn't that akin to all the medical advice taken by people when they just go online, like, my stomach hurts. That's this.
Yeah,
oh my God, cancer.
Right.
I Google that all the time. Like a couple weeks ago, I Googled, my left arm is numb. Am I having a heart attack?
And the answer was yes. And
No,
then,
the answer was you probably have a pinched nerve.
I typed it in one time. I was like, my left arm feels numb. Am I having
From our text line 50857, our spontaneous text question on National Sandwich Day. Your favorite sandwich? Mine's the pimento cheese. Austin was the Cuban, and Adams was the plain turkey.
jerk turkey? Jerk. I've upped the game to jerk turkey
That's
now.
right.
Get a little flavor in there.
All right, get your dinger ready, Austin. We have some entries here.
Ready.
The Publix chicken tender sub.
Oh, so good. 10 out of 10.
This is one I can relate to. Growing up, it was the knuckle sandwich,
There you go.
but now it's the grilled cheese sandwich.
Grilled cheese is good.
Yeah.
It's better than
Absolutely.
your sandwich, Mike, because it's
What,
got.
but you've
It's got
never
a
even,
little
have you ever had a pimento cheese sandwich?
Absolutely, I've had a pimento cheese
You,
sandwich.
you have?
It's fine, but it's not better than a grilled cheese.
Hold on. You really have had a
I have
pimento, or you're just
absolutely-
saying so for
Don't
the
you-
argument?
Don't you throw that at me. I absolutely have had a pimento cheese sandwich, and it's fine.
Okay, here's one I'm gonna buzz, but you guys can ding it if you want. The Monte Cristo. You got that has like the sugar on it, right?
Powdered
Oh,
sugar.
yeah.
It's the fried.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
fried
yeah.
ham and cheese, I believe. Basically,
Yeah, with no sugar on your sandwich.
I've had one before, and they are, but they. I mean, it's too much. It's
Mm-hmm.
really, really too much to eat.
How about the ice cream sandwich? Can we count that on
That's
National
not,
Sandwich
that's
Day?
not a real sandwich.
What?
No.
Oh, I mean, you guys are counting
How about the Oreo?
chicken tender Publix subs as a
That's
sandwich.
A sub. That's a sub.
Yeah, but like a sandwich has like sliced meats or some
No.
sort of.
No.
I guess.
Oh, come on now.
I don't know. Chicken tenders are chicken tenders. Somebody just decided, hey, what can I make this more unhealthy? Let me
Hey,
throw this fried food in between bread.
Hey, these chicken
Yeah.
tenders that are breaded, let's add more bread.
Bread, yeah.
And you know what? They were fantastic. Great idea, brother.
What about this one? Grilled cheese, ham and tomato, liverwurst, onion,
Oh.
Swiss on rye with brown mustard.
That's so much.
No,
No.
All of that all on one sandwich?
I think so. I like a little lip.
Prayers
You guys
out
like
to
liver?
anybody who goes in second into that restroom, okay? All right? Prayers
Yeah.
sent.
Do you guys like liverwurst?
No.
I like liverwurst.
I like
Or
liver.
bratwurst, too. Or not bratwurst, liverwurst. What? A Braunschweiger. I like that, too.
If
Yeah.
cooked properly.
You don't cook it, do you?
Well, sometimes you throw it on.
No, it's like a spread. The liverwurst is sort of like a spread.
Oh, I'm thinking of just liver and onions.
Yeah. Yeah.
My bad.
Anyway, keep those coming in. 50857 straight ahead. It's the sound up. But wait, we have your chance at $1,000 right now.
really good. I'm in a great place as far as mental and just mindset going into everything. I actually never felt better, actually just in life in general. But, of course, it's disappointing not being able to be out there with my teammates, seeing them going out there and compete. That's probably what hurts the most, just knowing, how competitive I am and, just seeing my teammates out there play, and not being able to be there with them. It's probably the toughest thing, but I'm all good. I'm in the right mindset. I'm just taking it day by day.
That's Markelle Fultz, the injured point guard for the Orlando Magic, talking about his mindset right now. And he's saying he's feeling better than he ever has. Well, yeah, minus the whole knee injury thing. But, Mike, my question for you is it good to see Markelle Fultz in such high spirits because you think he'll recover better than someone who is obviously down in the dumps? Or are you a little disheartened to see just how happy he is that the team is basically in shambles?
Well, I mean, I think he's saying he's in a good mindset when it comes to rehabbing the knee. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, you want him in a positive mindset. You want this guy wanting to come to the training facility every day. He has a mantra, does Markelle Fultz, and the mantra is faithful to the grind. Well, guess what? It is a grind rehabbing a knee injury. I've had a torn ACL in my 20s, and if you want that knee to come back, you have to rehab it every day. It's painful. It's scary. It's not only physical rehab, it's mental rehab for these guys because, I talked to a orthopedic surgeon last week, Pete Indelicato. Famous orthopedic surgeon, was the team doctor for the Gators, the team surgeon for the Miami Dolphins, and he said, it takes you about 9 to 12 months to mentally recover from a torn ACL. It takes up to 2 years. 9 to 12 months to physically recover. It takes up to 2 years to mentally recover. So the fact that Markelle Fultz is in a positive mental state, I think, is awesome news.
Sound off. We've gone now, whatever it is, 10 and 18 nights or something like that. And I think we have another 11 before we have 2 days off. So this is tough stuff now. I mean, this is 21 years for me. And I know this, I've never been through anything like this. This is harder than even the lockout years. And so I remember Coach Malone always used to say to Stan, if you're tired, how do you think they feel?
So that's Steve Clifford, head coach of the Orlando Magic. This was prior to the games being postponed in Boston. But my question for you, Adam, is he talked about how much of a grind this season is. And I know it sounds bad, but are these postponed games little blessings for teams?
Well, yeah. I mean, in the respect that, hey, listen, these guys are probably really tired. They need a break. The injuries that Orlando has suffered through now, just even a moment to catch your breath through it. It's probably appreciated. You hate the idea that, you're getting the break because of some COVID question marks but at least they're being safe about it, or as safe as possible, during this time in this league. So, probably a little bit of a blessing in disguise, but and I think everybody can appreciate how draining this is going to be as a season as we progress on if things sort of stay the way that they're staying there. When he starts talking about the numbers of games they've played in the number of nights and how many they will continue to play, as a matter of fact.
Sound off. We just got better and better. I mean, I think it was just a matter of continually work in progress, and things were growing each and every week, and then after the bye, everything kind of solidified itself.
Bruce Arians, head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, talking about how his offense really solidified itself after the bye week. Mike, this offense seems to be firing on all cylinders. The defense has been solid all year. Can the Tampa Bay Buccaneers be stopped?
I mean, their offense is playing really well. I think they're averaging like 38 points over the last 5 games. The question is, though, they're playing a hell of a defense, a hell of an all-around team this weekend when they play the New Orleans Saints. Now, this is a whole lot. This is a whole nother level that they're playing this weekend. They're not playing the Washington football team, even though they had a good defense. New Orleans has all their weapons on offense, and they have a great defense. They pressure Brady big time, at least they have in the first two games. So are they unstoppable? No, they're not.
His focus, I mean, has been unbelievable this whole year. I mean, he's been out on a mission. His ability to focus and be serious and make sure everybody's doing all the right stuff, holding everybody accountable, but at the same time, he's still enjoying it and having fun. And so I think that mesh is what you're always looking for. And with his skill and those two attributes, I mean, it's awesome. And I think that's what we've seen.
That's Nathaniel Hackett talking about Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, saying that he's out on a mission and he is having fun with it as well. An Aaron Rodgers who's having fun, that might be the most dangerous kind of Aaron Rodgers, right, Adam?
Yeah, an Aaron Rodgers that's playing great football, that's having fun, who has home field advantage throughout the playoffs. That's scary. That's what's scary. The NFC playoffs run through Green Bay, and he is having. I mean, he should be the MVP this year when all is said and done. And you look at what he's been able to accomplish. And honestly, off the top of my head, I can't name two wide receivers that he's had, you know, for a long period of time that has sort of been, you know, the Robin to his Batman. He's been Superman.
Davante Adams might be the best wide receiver in the league.
No, he
right
might
now.
be now, yes, but I'm talking about he's not a guy that's had this great career because he's been, you know, palled up with a great
He hasn't
receiver.
had Marvin Harrison.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he hasn't had a Gronkowski with him
Right.
every step of the way, essentially. You know, I mean, he may have the best receiver in the league.
Driver? What are you talking about?
That's what I mean.
Whoa,
my point
what
exactly.
year is that from?
My point exactly. But even then, Donald Driver was never the best receiver in the league.
It's playoff football. You know, it's only getting tougher from here. And we've got a great opponent coming into Buffalo. Chance to, again, play in front of our fans. First goal is to win this one. And if we don't, we're going home. And, you know, I think everybody in this locker room is completely focused on the task at hand right now.
Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. Mike, this one's got to be quick, but my question to you is he a Bills quarterback until he dives through a table?
I'll tell you what. The Bills struggled last week, but the Bills right now, I still say the Bills can challenge the Kansas City Chiefs. If the Chiefs get by my Brownies this week, the Bills can challenge the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship.
That's the sound off for today.
All right, straight ahead, Kevin Durant. Straight ahead, James Harden gets what he wants. He quits his way out of town. That's next on Open Mic.
This is Markelle Fultz of the Orlando Magic. When it comes to sports radio, Open Mic is my #1 overall pick.
Okay, I want to get back into this blockbuster NBA trade that hasn't officially been announced yet, but it's been reported by Woj, which means it is happening. All right. James Harden, I think this is a real problem for the NBA. I do. Not for the, not for the TV ratings or any of that, just for the image of the NBA. James Harden got what he wanted. I mean, I don't think anybody would question that he essentially quit his way out of town with the Houston Rockets. He forced a trade to the Brooklyn Nets. He's been disgruntled. He's been pushing for this trade for weeks. Now he got his way. The Rockets are trading him to the Nets. He's going to join, of course, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, another super team aggregated in the NBA. And I don't think there's any question now that, well, actually Caesar Sportsbook has moved the Nets up to the ahead of the Milwaukee Bucks as the second favorites to win the NBA title behind the Lakers. So just like that, the Nets are one of the top two favorites to win the NBA championship. I'm not going to get into all the specifics of the deal. The Houston Rockets, as Adam pointed out earlier, they did get a mother load of draft picks. What did they get, 3 or 4 first-round draft picks? How many was it?
I think they've got 4 first-round draft picks, and they ended up with Victor Oladipo, who's a pretty good NBA player.
Yeah, they ended up with Victor Oladipo, but again, they lost the best pure scorer in the NBA. And the bottom line is this: Harden quit his way out of town. And I think this is a real issue. He showed up out of shape. He wasn't playing hard. He wasn't even shooting the ball. He was, malingering on defense, which isn't a huge surprise, but it was really, really noticeable. And then on Tuesday night, after they lost to the Lakers, he pretty much said, you know what, I'm done here because I've done all I can do, and this is unfixable. Here's what he said.
I love this city. I literally, done everything that I can. This situation is crazy. It's something that I don't think can be fixed. So, thanks.
Okay, so then he gets up and walks out, and he didn't do everything he can. You know what everything you can is? Show up in shape, play for the team that's paying you $40 million a year, and wait for a trade to happen instead of quitting on your team. I mean, DeMarcus Cousins, one of his Rockets teammates, he absolutely just blasted James Harden yesterday.
I just feel like it's a way about handling business. He can feel however he wants to feel with the organization or whatever his current situation is, but the other 14 guys in the locker room have done nothing to him. So for us to be on the receiving end of some of the disrespectful comments and antics, it's completely unfair to us. Me personally, I don't feel betrayed at all. My interest is playing with John Wall, to be brutally honest. The disrespect started way before any interview. Just the approach to training camp, showing up the way he did, the antics off the court. I mean, the disrespect started way before. We feel a certain type of way about some of his actions. This is the nasty part of the business that kind of gets swept under the rug. You deal with these type of things, and when guys are in positions of being, franchise players or whatever the case may be, it's usually sometimes a nasty, breakup.
Okay, a nasty breakup. But I have no tolerance for this type of action. You heard DeMarcus Cousins talking about some of the antics, all right? Like showing up late for training camp. He's, while the other Rockets are at training camp, he's out partying without a mask in Atlanta and Vegas with the rapper Lil Baby. There is a laundry list of things that he did. A laundry list. Again, he showed up out of shape. He was overweight. He's been malingering. And this is different. Adam brought up, well, what's the difference between Kevin Durant leaving Oklahoma City for Golden State? He was a free agent. That's the difference. Kevin Durant didn't quit on his team. He exercised his right as a free agent. When LeBron leaves a franchise, he leaves the franchise on top, okay? He leaves the franchise better off. When he left Miami, they were better off. They had a couple of championships. When he left Cleveland, they were better off. They had a championship for the first time in 50 years in any sport, all right? Kevin Durant, when he left Oklahoma City, they were a really good team when he left. How did James Harden leave Houston? He left them high and dry. And I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. I don't have a problem with even Dwight Howard. Even Dwight Howard, when he left the Magic, he didn't handle it great, all right? But Dwight Howard he had a year left on his contract. He told the Magic he wanted to be traded. He was somewhat patient as they traded, as they looked for a trade partner. James Harden was like, nope, I want out, and I want out now. Do it now, or I'm going to quit on the team. And that's what he did. This is so much different than NFL players who hold out. I've said this many times. I have no problem if an NFL player holds out. I really don't. NFL players literally put their necks on the line every week. They put their brains on the line. NBA players, give me a break. A $40 million guaranteed contract, and you're going to quit on your team when you still have 2 years left? No tolerance whatsoever. None.
Well, I'm actually looking at his numbers right now. You know, he's down 10 points a game from last year.
Yeah,
he's
quit.
But he's up 2.5 assists per game over last year. So, I mean, the guy's distributing the ball. I mean, a better playmaker for his teammates. I mean, goodness gracious. What do these people want? He can't help it that the franchise didn't live up to their end of the deal to make a winner around him. This guy just wants to win. This guy has a winner's mentality. Just wants to win, baby. That's it.
He has a quitter's mentality is what he has. That's what he has.
25 points a game, 10.5 assists per game. All right, listen, I would say this, that most teams in the NBA would love to have a guy that did that for them each and every night.
Look what he's done the last 5 games, all right, when he really quit. He's averaged 17 points per game. That's the lowest 5-game span of his 8 years with the Rockets, all right? Lowest. He's a sixth. Again, I haven't watched the games, but there's some highlights out there of him just like going through the motions out on the court. If I were a Rockets fan, I would be, and again, I realize not many, or I don't even know if Rockets fans are in the arena now, but if I were a Rockets season ticket holder, I would say, I'm out. I'm not going to buy tickets for this. You know, your star player forces his way out of town with 2 years still left on his contract. This is terrible for the NBA. Except for the TV ratings when the finals come, right?
Yeah. If James Harden is in the NBA Finals with Kevin Durant, then against LeBron James, it'll be good. How about Kyrie Irving, who didn't want to be Robin to LeBron's Batman anymore, so he ends up. How about now? I stole this offline. This is not mine. He's now Alfred. Not only is he not Batman, and he's not Robin, he's just Alfred hanging out in the cave at this point to Harden and Durant.
Now, you know what he is? If you ever watch the old Batman TV series, he's Aunt Harriet is what he is. He's Aunt Harriet. Yeah. So anyway, we will continue this conversation when we come back. What do you guys think out there as NBA fans? Do you like this trade? Do you like the fact that we have another super team in the NBA? Give us a call, 407-916-8255. Also, when we come back, I'm a little worried about Tua. I'll explain next on Open Mic.
Open Mic. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
I'm sorry.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined as always by Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and of course Austin Pastolka, the Sultan of Sound.
Yeah.
Together we are Open Mic, the troika of sports talk radio excellence in Orlando and Jacksonville. Your next chance at $1,000 coming up at 8:10 a.m. this morning. Make an appointment. That's appointment radio, 8:10 a.m. We give you a chance at $1,000. We do it 2 times a show, 7:10 a.m. and 8:10 a.m., and then we do it throughout the day on this very station, 12 times a day, in fact. Urban Meyer, not only a candidate for the Jacksonville Jaguars job, it's looking like Urban Meyer is also talking to the San Diego/LA Chargers. I will always call them the San Diego Chargers for one reason, because I get confused and forget that they moved to LA. And for another reason, I don't like that they moved to LA. Just like I don't like that Kevin Durant quitted his way
Still not
out of
Kevin
Houston.
Durant.
Yeah, well, Kevin Durant, I'm sorry. He left legitimately as a free agent. James Harden quitted his way out of Houston. And that's the difference between Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and James Harden, the quitter, in my mind. But anyway, Urban Meyer, it looks like, is also talking to the L.A. Chargers, according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. And speaking of Jacksonville, I think we have our favorite Jacksonville caller, Ernesto, on line 1. Ernesto, what do we have?
Well, I share with Scott Frost the love of the Gobbler sandwich. So, I think that's pretty awesome. Austin's favorite coach, but not. But I have a couple questions. Is Brandon Kravitz a machine? His post on Harden on his IG, the guy doesn't even blink. I don't know. It's crazy.
He doesn't
also,
blink.
You go look at it, guys. It's live, man. I'm telling you. He's holding the mic in his hand, and he just stares at you into your soul. I don't know. It's crazy. Also, did Adam go through puberty, or did you give him a new mic, man? Because his voice is coming across strong and deep. I used to be a program director. I can pick up on that stuff. Nothing happened to him. Also, Mike, you got to go talk to Shahad Khan and give your analysis of Urban to him so we don't get him. I don't want Jacksonville.
No, you want Urban Meyer. If you're a Jaguars fan, you want Urban Meyer. You want him. He will win.
Well, he's already two-timing us like he did down in Gainesville. We all know the true story. But anyway, hey, I want to give thanks to my sponsor. It's called the Urban Meyer Heart Monitor, and it'll tell you if your heart's really in it. Woo!
Yeah, hopefully Urban Meyer doesn't leave Jacksonville high and dry with a bad case of acid reflux like he did with the Gators. All right, our spontaneous text question of the day. It's National Sandwich Day. Your favorite sandwich. All right, you can text those in to 50857. All right, get your dinger ready. We got some new ones here, Austin.
We're ready.
All right, here's one that's a takeoff on my favorite sandwich, the pimento cheese, except this one is the grilled pimento cheese
There
sandwich.
you go. See, much better. Massive improvement over the regular pimento cheese sandwich.
Ice cream sandwich, I'm not allowing that. That's not a real sandwich, okay? The Diablo sandwich, I don't know what that is. Anyone?
I haven't heard of the. I assume it is meaty and spicy.
How about this roast? Oh, I love a good rare roast beef sandwich. Roast beef with Munster cheese on white bread, mayonnaise, salt, and pepper.
Yeah.
Give it a ding right there.
Absolutely. That's so good.
What about this one? Peanut butter and Miracle Whip? No.
What?
No mayonnaise on your peanut butter.
No, they must be talking about like peanut butter and that marshmallow like
No.
fluff.
People actually
Fluffer
no
nutter?
They're not talking about that. I know people who put mayonnaise on their peanut butter to sort of moisten up the peanut butter instead of jelly.
Yeah,
Yeah, people do that.
You know who does that? Like, hey, make me up some of those sandwiches. We're storming the Capitol tomorrow.
Mama's fried pork chop sandwich.
That sounds good. I've not had your mother's pork chop sandwich
Yeah,
before,
I'd
but I'll
like
take
to,
your
though.
word for it.
Absolutely. All right, text that. Keep those coming in. 50857. All right, we're going to get to this. Oh, what time is it? Real quick. All right, we're going to. I'm going to tee. We're going to get to this in the blast. All right, but the Miami Herald has a report out there. It cites some anonymous players at Miami who are concerned that Tua is their quarterback of the future. All right, let me just read you at least one of the quotes from one of these anonymous players. First of all, I don't think that these players should be talking anonymously to the Miami Herald because I think that's sort of a backstabbing thing, especially for a young quarterback. And I'm a member of the media. I mean, I credit the Miami Herald for getting these quotes, all right? But here was one of the players when talking about Tua has already been named the starter for next season. The quote was, "I understand what they are saying, but I don't understand why." All right? So that's from a player. There's also some other players who've expressed concern that they don't think Tua is the right guy. They question his arm strength in this article by the Miami Herald. They question his accuracy in this story by the Miami Herald. Here's why I'm worried about Tua. Not only because his teammates obviously are questioning him, but Mac Jones is why I'm worried about Tua. All right? I always judge a quarterback's or anybody's greatness, really, a coach's greatness, by what happens after they leave. Like, we had Steve Spurrier on our show, right? When Steve Spurrier left Florida, guess what? The program went downhill. When Urban Meyer left Florida, the program went downhill. When Tua left Alabama, the offense got better. It got better. Does that concern you, guys? If you're a Dolphins fan that you've got an Alabama quarterback, obviously if you're the Alabama quarterback, you're going to have success. But they've had even more success without Tua.
Yeah, no, I think that it's a fair concern to have. I think it was Colin Cowherd the other day I was listening to, and he was bringing up the point. Think about how difficult it must be to really evaluate an Alabama quarterback. That guy is always throwing to open receivers. Mac Jones this year is throwing to the greatest receiver or a season, greatest receiving season we've seen from a receiver ever.
And the second best receiver on his team, probably.
Right. You're always playing behind the best offensive line. You've got, usually one of the top running backs in college football, like they do at Alabama. You never have to play from behind. So really, what is it that we've learned about Mac Jones this year, and really, frankly, any quarterback from Alabama previously during this run? What did we learn about them at the college level? Not much. We end up finding out about them at the NFL level. Now, most of their quarterbacks don't get drafted in the first round. Nobody was tanking for A.J. McCarron at any point. But
Craig McElroy, nobody was tanking for him.
No, I think people recognize those were the guys. Now Tua, everybody's sort of saddled with this it factor. Well, you know what his it factor turned out to be? Guys like Jerry Jeudy and these other guys,
Smith,
guys that are in the NFL.
Henry Ruggs.
Right. I mean that may be his it factor, and Mac Jones may be. Tua may be a cautionary tale for anybody thinking about, well, do I take Mac Jones as the third quarterback in the draft? I don't know about that. Guys like Josh Allen, who I didn't think was going to be successful, think about what that guy had to do at the college level at Wyoming. What receivers was he throwing to that was anything like Devontae Smith? What running backs was he handing the ball to? What offensive line was he playing behind? And then you look at where he's at just a couple of years into his NFL career, and you can see, man, this guy did it on his own talent at Wyoming, and it's paying major, major dividends for the Buffalo Bills now.
All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club. You feel that?
I can feel it.
We're about to blast off.
Just hook it to my veins!
It's time for the blast.
That's right, it's time for the blast, and you know who the blast is brought to you by. It's Frank Gay Services. When you have a plumbing or electrical problem, you need help now. Go to frankgayservices.com. You can vote on
Frank Gay cannot be stopped.
Absolutely. You can vote on all these topics on Twitter at 969thegame or at thegamejacks. We start off with the thought-provoking daily poll. How much does the way James Harden quit on the Houston Rockets and forced a trade to the Brooklyn Nets hurt the NBA in the eyes of fans? Is it hurt so much? All caps and exclamation points. It hurts some or it doesn't hurt at all.
You know, I'm glad you put in the eyes of fans, all right? I'm going to go hurt so much. I'm changing my stance from earlier today because I just realized eyes of fans. I think this is shameful in the eyes of fans that a player who makes $40 million a year in guaranteed money, in the environment that we're in, when people are losing their jobs and businesses are closing up, and you can't even get an unemployment check because the system is all mucked up, all right? And this guy is quitting on his job, quitting on his $40 million a year guaranteed money job. I think this is shameful and disgusting in the eyes of fans. Shame on you, James Harden.
It won't matter if they end up winning in New Jersey. And listen, I think that the Houston Rockets will tell you right now that they're sort of happy this whole thing's over. Now listen, Houston didn't have to trade him. I mean, nobody put the gun to their head and said you got to trade him. They decided to go ahead and part ways as well. So, and they got 4 first-round picks for him. They've got Victor Oladipo and Dante Exum as well. So, yeah. Well, Victor Oladipo. You think the Magic could take a Victor Oladipo right now? No, Victor Oladipo. They'd love to have him back.
With 40,
the Magic would take Bud Oladipo, Victor's brother.
41% of the vote says it hurts some, followed closely by 34% of the vote says doesn't hurt at all. Supplemental poll number 1, have the Brooklyn Nets now supplanted the Lakers as the most hated team in the NBA? Yes or no?
I don't even think it should be close. Yes, I mean, good Lord, look at the players. Some people don't like LeBron because of his political stances and all that, but a lot of people do like LeBron. I don't know anybody who likes Kyrie Irving. I know few people who really like Kevin Durant. And now James Harden, the way he's quit, those are 3 players who are sort of villainous players
Anthony
right
Davis
now.
also quit.
I'm going to go the Brooklyn Nets have, by far, they've supplanted the Lakers as the most hated team in the world, all right? And I'm a Laker hater. But I hate the Brooklyn Nets more right now.
Yeah, I think hate's like a passion word, and hard for anybody to have that much passion when it comes to the New Jersey Nets. They've never done anything to you or your favorite franchise growing up. I think where you could hate the Lakers is because if you were growing up a fan of a team, the
mean
Lakers,
like the Magic?
Yeah, the Lakers at some point had victimized your franchise. What has the Nets ever done to anybody? I mean, what could the Nets? We got to wait for the Nets to win an NBA title, and then you can go. I hate the way they won the title.
Here's what they did to Orlando. All right, that was the team that Dwight Howard wanted to go to when he was trying to force his way out of Orlando. He wanted to go to the Brooklyn Nets as well. So there, how about that?
But he ended up with the Lakers. Therefore, you hate the Lakers.
Yeah. 59% of the vote says no. It is still the Lakers who are the most hated team in the NBA.
Okay.
Supplemental poll number 2, should the Jacksonville Jaguars be worried that Urban Meyer is reportedly also talking to the LA Chargers? Yes or no?
Absolutely not. I'm predicting that Urban Meyer will be announced as the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars sometime today. All right. So, no, they shouldn't be worried. Why? This is just Urban trying to maybe get an extra $1 million on his paycheck by talking to the San Diego / LA Chargers. Urban Meyer's not going to the Chargers. He's coming to Jacksonville. Not even Urban Meyer is soulless enough to leave the state of Florida high and dry again like he did with the Gators.
No, I think it's a concern because, as I mentioned, I think that of the two jobs, and Urban, I think, values the perception that he is such a brilliant coach that he can get results right away. The place he's going to do that is with the Los Angeles Chargers. Of their 9 losses this year, only 2 of them were by more than double digits, were by 10 or more points. So only 2 games were they ever out of their 9 losses. I think
Adam doing a little research.
I think he recognizes that they've got the rookie of the year, or at least arguably the rookie of the year in Justin Herbert there. The quarterback situation solved. They got a really good wide receiver. They've got some defensive players as well. I think that's the place. And if I kind of use Urban Meyer's thought pattern when it comes to picking college jobs and place that in the NFL, then to me it wouldn't even be close. Jacksonville wouldn't even be in the conversation because they are nowhere near ready to win the way the Chargers
You
are.
are nuts, man. The Jaguars have more draft picks. They have the #1 overall draft pick. They have some good young talent. This isn't the NBA. It doesn't take long to turn it around in the NFL. You can go from first to worst in 1 year. No, that's wrong.
The Chargers,
Anyway,
Chargers already have a proven thing at the quarterback position. Already a proven guy in the
Trevor
NFL.
Lawrence is who would you take, Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert, if you were drafted? If you had to build your franchise right now, who are you taking?
1 in the hand versus 2 in the bush?
Yeah, who you taking?
Trevor Lawrence.
Thank you.
The results of this one, it's very close. 51% of the vote says no, the Jaguars should not be worried, but it is close.
It is close.
Supplemental poll number 3 with MLS ownership and players in contentious labor negotiations. Do you believe the season will start on time? Yes or no?
I'm going no. I'm going no for this reason because I don't think ownership wants it to start on time. I think ownership wants to push back the start of the season until everybody's been vaccinated and they can have full stadiums because that's how MLS makes their money. They make their money not from the big TV check like a lot of sports leagues do. They make their money by attendance and all of that. So I'm going to go no, it will not start on time.
No, it won't start on time. Like we found out last year, finally when Orlando City has something to be excited about, fans couldn't really be there. And so, of course, coming into this season, probably a year that fans would be excited. No, of course, they're not going to have it start on time. That's just sort of our luck here.
65% of the vote says no, it will not start on time. Supplemental poll number 4. How much of a concern is the Miami Herald report citing unnamed Miami Dolphins players questioning whether Tua Tagovailoa should be the starting quarterback next season? So much concern! We got 2 of these today. All caps, exclamation points. Somewhat concerning or not concerning.
Give me the first option again, Austin. You go ahead and do it.
So much concern!
Yeah, now, these players, they see their quarterback in practice every day. They know the landscape of what's going on with Tua. They talk amongst one another. So, yeah, I think it's very concerning, especially when we bring up what we brought up earlier today. He's an Alabama quarterback. How much do we really know about Alabama quarterbacks when they have, as Adam said, they have the best offensive lines. They have the best receivers. They have the best running backs. They have the best coach. They have the best offensive coordinators. How do we even know what these quarterbacks are going to be when they get to the NFL? So much concern.
Yeah, I'm going to even go with that as well. I remember when they decided to go with Tua midway through the year, I said, listen, I get what you're doing, but why are you doing it? Because Fitzpatrick was playing well, had them sort of in that playoff discussion, that conversation. He had to come in and bail Tua out a few different times to sort of keep him in that playoff conversation. and now you're just going with him without question. He is unquestionably the starter for next year, and you've got players in the locker room that are questioning that decision already. Ask Doug Peterson how it works out for you as a head coach when your players start questioning your true commitment to winning football by putting the best players on the field. Doesn't turn out well for you.
With 52% of the vote, somewhat concerning wins this one. And finally, the open mic would you rather poll. Would you rather be head of Margaritaville Jimmy Buffett or the very rich man who once was the world's richest man, Warren Buffett from Omaha, Nebraska? Pick your Buffett.
Come on. This isn't even close. I mean, you'd much rather be Jimmy Buffett.
What?
I mean, first and foremost, Warren Buffett lives in Omaha, Nebraska. Who the hell wants to live in Omaha, Nebraska? Jimmy Buffett has a house in the Keys. He has a house in Vail, Colorado. He's
Tell me Warren Buffett doesn't have houses there and there and there.
Yeah, but he actually lives in Omaha.
He lives in the same house. He's been in since 1980.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, come on. You'd rather be the shrimp boat rocker, Jimmy Buffett.
I'd rather be Warren Buffett because Warren Buffett, if he ever wants to hear Jimmy Buffett music, doesn't have to just pop in a CD. He just hires Jimmy Buffett to come to his house. like, hey, you guys want to go by the pool and listen to Jimmy Buffett? He's out here from noon to 8 p.m. He'll play all the classics. He's doing requests. He'll do whatever he says. I'm paying him. Couch cushion money.
With 53% of the vote, Jimmy Buffett wins this one.
Wasted away again in Margaritaville.
Where's the salt? Where's
where's my Los Angeles salt? Yeah, you must be insane. I don't know. All right, straight ahead. Straight ahead. A cheeseburger in paradise while we're at it with a cold draft beer. Straight ahead, Brandon Kravitz is going to join us to break down this NBA blockbuster trade and also to talk NFL playoffs. But first, we have your chance at $1,000. Before we get to Kravitz, our spontaneous text question of the day on National Sandwich Day, your favorite sandwich. How about this one? The Urban Meyer sandwich. My apologies to Oscar, but this sandwich has a lot more bologna in it.
Oh, jeez.
And with that, let's bring in a guy who's also full of baloney sometimes. Brandon Kravitz, host of In the Zone every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6 p.m. right here on this very station. Mr. Kravitz, how are you this morning?
How dare you? Everything I say is legitimate. In fact, I brought on a psychic yesterday at 5 o'clock to help me predict the Super Bowl. So to say that I'm full of baloney is malarkey.
All right, Kravitz, we'll ask you a couple of questions before we get into the big blockbuster trade. Should Jaguars fans be worried that Urban is also talking to the Chargers?
No. There are many great candidates out there, and we're not 100% sure that Urban Meyer is even the best one. We just know that he's the most famous one. I wouldn't be worried at all. They got Trevor Lawrence coming in. There are a bevy of good options. The Jags have an attractive job, so you'd get one of the better options out there, whether it's a Robert Saleh from the 49ers or an Eric Bieniemy. It's not as sexy as the Urban Meyer name, but I wouldn't be worried at all. If he wants to go to the Chargers, go to the Chargers.
What's the better job?
It's really close. I would lean towards the Chargers because I think you can win quicker there because they already have a defense in place. And they've got stars as long as Derwin James can stay on the field. They've got one of the best defensive players in the secondary with him, Joey Bosa on the defensive line. And you already know what you have in Justin Herbert, and he's already got guys to throw the ball to and a good running back. I mean, they're already set up for success. The problem with the Chargers is that they haven't had a great coach and they can't stay healthy. But if you just get those two things in place, then, you know, a little bit of luck on your side. I think the Chargers could quickly contend in the AFC. The Jags, yeah, you're going to get Lawrence and you've got all this money to spend and all these draft picks. It's just going to take a minute to get there. And so for somebody like Urban Meyer, I actually think the Chargers job is perfect because he's only going to last a few years anyway.
All right. As a Dolphins fan, everybody knows you've been a lifelong Dolphins fan. How much of a concern is it to you that the Miami Herald is writing this story with, you know, unnamed Dolphins players questioning whether Tua should be the starting quarterback next season?
It is troubling because the things that I thought I saw or didn't see in Tua this year that I wanted to see, that I thought I would see, that special ability, that pop.
Mm-hmm.
You and I talked about that on my show.
Yeah.
It's the one thing missing more than anything else. He won games as a rookie, but there was just that sizzle that you see that jumps off the screen. Like that first game Joe Burrow had after his first game when he played the Browns on national TV and he lost, but you're like, oh my God, this guy has it. It's obvious. Tua hasn't shown that once. And that's exactly what the players said. If you read into that article, that they just didn't see his ability to make off-schedule throws, which is what the best players do. We watched Josh Allen do it over the weekend. You'll see Patrick Mahomes do it coming up this weekend. Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, all the best players do it at that position. The fact that they see it and the fact that they said it out loud, even though they remain anonymous, is a major concern. I mean, think about some of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. Did they have players in the locker room telling reporters that they don't think they're going to be very good? That's not a good sign. It's very troubling.
Okay, let's get to the big blockbuster trade. James Harden has forced his way out of Houston. Are you as disgusted as I am that a guy who has a $40 million guaranteed contract for the next 3 years essentially quit on his team, shows up out of shape, forced his way out of town, or are you in the camp of Adam Reardon, who says in the long run, when they get to the NBA Finals, when it's the Nets against the Lakers, it's going to be good for the NBA?
Well, I do agree with that, but I think those are two separate questions. And I kind of agree with you, but I look at it through a different lens. I'm less disgusted with James Harden in this situation than I am with the Houston Rockets. He came to you and said, I'm going to quit. Please trade me here. he quit, and then they traded him there. Why did they have to do that? Why is
Like,
this
they
the
got the best
culture
haul.
in the NBA? But like, you don't have to. That's it. There's no law that says in the NBA that because a player comes to you under a contract and wants to go to a specific place, that you have to trade him to that place. It's that NBA teams consistently give in to those players and trade them exactly where they want to go. The only time I've ever seen a team go counter to that, it actually worked out brilliantly. I believe this is the way it worked with Kawhi Leonard when he wanted out of San Antonio and they shipped him up north to Toronto. It happened to work out great. They won a championship. But that's typically not what we see. We say, I want to go here and here. I mean, even Dwight Howard did it. I want to go play for the Lakers or the Nets. They traded him to the Lakers. You know, and
Actually, Dwight Howard wasn't really keen on going to the Lakers. He wanted to go to the Nets. And I'll give that's the one thing I'll give Rob Hennigan credit for. He didn't send Dwight Howard where he wanted to go, the Brooklyn Nets.
It was on his list. I mean, you remember the Lakers were on his list of places. It wasn't at the top. You're right. The Nets were at the top of his list. I think the Rockets were on the list, and that's where he wound up a little bit longer term. But the Lakers are one of those teams. But this is the problem. And the Sixers, James Harden had a list of two. I want to go to Philadelphia or Brooklyn. And they traded him exactly where he wanted to go, one of those two spots. That's the problem. You mean to tell me that there's not some team out there, Minnesota Timberwolves, the Orlando Magic, some team that's just trying to hang on and win a few games and be interesting, and shake things up. And the Magic haven't made a big move since the management team of Weltman and Hammond have come through. I'm not saying they would have made this move, but there's got to be somebody out there. And if I'm the Rockets, I'll make a trade out of spite. What the hell did you get anyway? You got Victor Oladipo, who is going to become a free agent in the offseason. So you're basically just clearing money. Maybe he turns into something again, but he's dealt with a bunch of injuries. He's a good player, but he's never on the floor. And then you got first-round picks. Who the hell cares about first-round picks in the NBA draft unless you're at the top of the draft? I mean, that's just – you're just literally playing darts at that point.
If I'm the Magic, I would have said, here are two bright young stars, Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz. You can have them right now for James Harden.
Yeah, I don't know why the culture is. Oh, this is where they want to go. Let's make sure that they're very pleased with the trade that they forced my hand into. I don't get it. It would be like your wife coming to you and saying, "I want a divorce," and you go, "Wait, let me make sure I find the perfect match for you before you leave." It's ridiculous.
That's a good analogy. That is a really good analogy. By the way, so I'm reading all the ESPN coverage of this, and I don't know if it was Woj, but one of the writers said it should be noted that the Rockets could have made a trade with Philly and had Ben Simmons if they had wanted him, but they apparently decided to go with the motherlode of first-round draft picks. Is that an indictment on Ben Simmons?
It is. I also disagree with it. I mean, I know that he's not a good shooter, but that guy is tough to defend, and he's a really good defender. The Sixers are one of the best teams in the NBA right now, and part of the reason is because of Ben Simmons. He's definitely not a perfect superstar, but he is a superstar, and you want to get those guys if you can. He's never caused any problems, from what I understand, other than he doesn't have great chemistry with Joel Embiid, but Embiid's kind of a weird guy, so I put that more on Embiid than Simmons. I think that's that to me is a strange decision, but I guess they just wanted the cap space, because that's what it's about. They're getting cap flexibility. Mike is our favorite NBA player. That's what they'll be getting next year.
Always want to have that. Austin Pastolka has some breaking news.
That's right, we got breaking news from Untitled Chapter on Twitter. Jacksonville and former Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer are in advanced talks to see if they can finalize a deal per league sources. They met again Wednesday. I was tweeted out 9 minutes ago.
How about that? Usually we get the breaking news in the afternoon, but look at you guys.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen today. It'll be finalized. That's what my sources tell me.
Who's your sources, Mike? It's your brain, your inside.
My sources are eeny, meeny, miny, and mo.
Ah, gotcha. There it is.
He's got friends that work on Shad Khan's yacht.
Ah, there it is.
All right, Brandon Krause, what do we have on In the Zone this afternoon?
Well, I guess I'll be breaking that down. So I'll have to get to work on that. And one question that just immediately comes to mind that I'm going to bring up this afternoon is, where does this now rank the Jags in terms of relevant NFL teams? And we've never had that conversation before about the Jacksonville Jaguars, even when they were in the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago. So I'm really interested in this one. I'll dig a little bit deeper into the James Harden deal, and we'll talk about this Urban Meyer stuff. So I'm excited to get on the air at 3 o'clock today.
Brandon Krause In the Zone, 3 to 6 p.m. right here on this very station. Thank you, Brandon.
Goodbye.
Straight ahead, Mark Daniels and the Bridge. Urban Meyer, it appears, is this close to being the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll get Daniels' reaction to that and the big NBA trade next.
Mark Daniels joins Mike Bianchi on the Bridge next.